stay for the whole class. Well, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Are you recording? Okay, perfect. Love it when you start a recorded class with, are we recording? We're off to a great start. Okay, so I am in Command right now, and if you don't know how to get to Command, you'll go to agent.kw.com. I think about this as the agent access to kw.com. If you ever go to kw.com and you try to use your Keller Williams login credentials, you're not going to get anywhere with that because kw.com is a consumer-facing platform, whereas agent.kw.com, that is your agent access to Keller Williams. So once I'm in here, I have my login credentials. I'm going to go ahead and log in. If you don't know your credentials for this, reach out to your ASC, your agent services person who's probably on this call right now, and they can help you figure out where to find those. So now that I'm in Command, this is what my homepage looks like. Yours might look a little different. You can customize your homepage using this button right here. But I'm going to first start with what we very often start with in Command, and we're going to cover our marketing profile. So I'm going to click my name, and then I'm going to click Settings. And then I'm going to go to Connect Settings, and then Marketing Profile. So it was my name, Settings, Connect Settings, and then Marketing Profile. And now that I'm in my marketing profile, this is basically where all of my information will feed into the rest of the Command platform. This is especially important when you're setting up landing pages, websites, when you're doing stuff in designs. We'll talk a little bit more about how you can further customize the stuff that you make in designs, but this is always a great place to start for any Command class. Anytime you're sitting down in front of your computer to work on stuff in Command, go ahead and just take a quick look at this and make sure everything is up to date. So I've got my headshot here. I'm not on a team, but I love that I'm part of the Ben Kinney company. So I do have the Ben Kinney logo right here. And I've got my name. Something to note about team name right here. So if I go to my website, again, I'm not on a team, but if I go to my website, which is karakrog.kw.com, whatever I put there as my team name is actually going to be what this menu is called. I like having my name right there because I want people to see my name as soon as they get to my website. So just keep that in mind. That's why I have my name right there under team. Job title, credentials, a little short bio about myself, phone number, office number, etc. You will put your Market Center logo on here. This is required, so make sure you have it. We are going to talk a little bit more about where you can find that logo in a moment, but for now, we're just going to say that's all right there. This compliance footer is mostly optional, but I'm going to go ahead and drop it in the chat anyway. The one part that you do want to have in there is that each office is independently owned and operated. I like to just cover all my bases. Same thing with the equal housing opportunity and realtor logos. These are not required, but I do like to include them as well. And then I've got all my social media links too. And then if I want to have Google Analytics tracking my sites, I can put that information in here. We talk about this in our Advanced Agent Sites Part 2. If you want to look for that recording. And then for your branded KW app link, I'll have that in here as well. And then I'll hit save. All right, everything is successfully saved and we are ready to move on. So I'm going to go back home. And then I'm going to be working in designs today for those seller and buyer presentations. But if I am not quite sure which one of these is designs, obviously I can float over this icon and I can see the designs does pop up. But I can also click this red KW logo and it's going to expand that menu so I can see everything without having to float over each icon. Now, I know that Command sometimes changes the way these icons look, just like every other platform, like when you log into Facebook and things look a little different one day, you know, things are always changing. So it's always a good idea. If you don't quite remember what it is, you can just pop that open this way right here. But we're going to go into designs. And the first thing you're going to see are my designs, but if you're logging in on your computer, the first thing you're going to see are your designs. So those are all right here. If you haven't created anything in designs yet, this page might be blank, and that's okay. It doesn't mean it's not loading or it's not working. It just means you haven't made anything yet, and we're going to do that today. And you can see here we do have some email templates, some landing pages. Fun fact about landing pages, if you want to edit this, this is actually where you go to, where you can go to, oh wait, no, that's not true actually. That would be agent site. If you're editing your agent site pages, this is actually where you go to edit them. You click this and then that can take you to edit your agent site pages. If you go into agent sites, you think that that would be how you would edit it, and it's not, it's in designs. So just something to keep in mind. Same thing with videos, print, social, all that stuff. So to create a new design, I'm going to press this blue plus sign. Now you can see we've got these different types of designs that I might be wanting to create. This feature right here, import PDF, this is really cool. This is basically like giving you a paid version of Adobe for free. So you can actually upload a PDF and then edit the pages on that PDF. You can also click this to import photos and text from a listing. You can also, if you decide you don't want to do that right now, but then later you wish you had clicked that button, that's not a problem at all. You can always add them in later. But if you want to go ahead and do that now, you could click this. I'm going to skip over this because I don't need it for what we're working on today. And now it's going to take you to KW WeBrand. So this is what we use for designs. And you can see we have all these templates right here. I can also click My Designs, and it'll take me to kind of that first page that we were just looking at with all the designs that I've worked on before. One really cool feature I love for here, if you are like me and you like to stay organized, you can actually create folders for all your designs. So you can see I've got holidays and calendars. Today we're going to be working on buyer and seller presentations. So maybe I will put a folder on here and call this, let's say listing presentations. Now the reason why I'm making a folder for listing presentations is because, you know, if this is a listing presentation that I'm working on, I could put it in this folder. And then let's say I finished this whole listing presentation and now I want to make another listing presentation for someone else. I want it to be customized, but I don't necessarily want to change the one that I already have. I can actually click these three dots here at the bottom and then I can duplicate it. So now I have another one that I can work from and basically make all the little changes that I want to this listing presentation to make it customized to the seller that I'm meeting with. So it's a really easy way to keep your current designs as you and create new ones. I will say that about both of these presentations that we're going to cover today. It's going to be really time consuming to go in and really create something where you're editing, you're putting your face and your name and your contact information and all your other info on there. It takes a lot of time at first, even though these are templates that are pre-created for you. There's still a lot of editing that you'll need to do to them. It's certainly less time than creating it from scratch. But the good news is once you do have that created, once you have this marketing piece, you can just kind of tweak it for as you sell more properties and as you get more reviews and all of those things. You can always tweak it as you go along and it'll be a lot easier to make changes. It's just you have to put a little time in upfront. So we've got a couple ways you can start a new design here. You can start from a blank template. So basically you just say what size you want to use. You can do what I was talking about earlier where you upload a PDF. And then you can also go back to the templates page we were just on by clicking this button. It'll take you back here. Now, one of the pages I really want us to focus on today too is my assets. This is a little bit of a newer addition to designs, but this is kind of like an extension of that marketing profile that's really specific to designs. So if you have some branding that you're using, whether that be, you know, your own logo or you're on a team and you've got a team logo. This is where you would put some logos, but it's going to bring you first to this colors and fonts page. Let's say I, you know, always use this specific red or the specific blue or green in my marketing. I can click this plus sign and then I can find that perfect color and then make sure that I'm using that in all of my marketing. Maybe blue. That looks kind of like a Ben Kinney blue right there. So we'll add that. And then if you've bought any fonts or you have any fonts on your computer that you want to upload, let's say you bought some type of marketing branding package and it includes a font, you can actually upload your own fonts to Designs so that you can use those across all of your marketing pieces. Now back to logos. I do have in here some Ben Kinney logos, some Keller Williams North Seattle logos. My suggestion for you, if you're looking for the Ben Kinney logo, I would Google it. Honestly, that's how I typically get them. For your Market Center logo, though, I would not Google it because you definitely want to get the most high resolution version of that logo as possible. So I'm going to just show you guys real quick how you can find that. I'm going to go to a new tab and go to kwconnect.com. For me, that always takes me straight to kwconnect.com/live streams because that is where I go to the most. And then I'm going to go to resources and then marketing. But for most of you guys, it'll probably take you to the home page, which looks like this. And then from here, I'll just click resources and then marketing. And then once I'm in this page, I'll go to logos and branding. And then if I scroll down, I'd skip over this identity and style guide. You can certainly look over it. It's basically just familiarizing yourself with the Keller Williams standards to make everything look very professional and Kellerized. But it's not required to be using this, but you can scroll down and you'll see those Market Center logos. So for my office, I am North Seattle, so I can type North Seattle and it will pop up. I can also type my Market Center number, so that would be 1081. So you can look for your logo either way. And then once I get here, I can click download. I click preview, I can double check and make sure it's the right one. Yep, that's us. And then when I click download, this is actually going to download as a zip file, and it's going to have a bunch of different versions of your logo, which is what I really appreciate about this too. So this is why I always encourage people to go this route to download the very high resolution logos, because if I'm just going to email you a logo, by the time I email all of the versions of our logo over to you, they're not going to be as clear as if you were to just go onto this site and download them from here. All right, so let's go back to here. We've got our logos. If I wanted to add another logo, I could just click this upload button right here and then add the file. Same thing for images. I've got my headshots in here. This one looks a little blurry, so I've got this more clear one. If I wanted to upload another headshot, again, I just click that upload button. For smart text, this is stuff that you would type a lot. So things like that would be taglines, delivering the dream of home ownership, your Facebook profile link, another tagline here, websites. Let's edit this one because my website is actually krogh.kw.com. Personally, when it comes to websites and emails, I like to have everything written in lowercase letters. I know sometimes people think it makes things look more clear when you're typing like capital K, lowercase a, R, A, capital K. I don't like that because if you have an L anywhere in there or an I, sometimes it gets very confusing. Is that a capital I or a lowercase L? So to me, I think just having everything lowercase across the board usually keeps confusion from happening when it comes to emails and websites. So now my website's up to date, my email's on here, my company name, my name, although this is my old name. I got married in August, so I can change this. All right, there we go, and then save. So I had some stuff I had to update in here too. So that's a kind of a good thing to consider is that, you know, if anything changes, you get a new headshot, you get married and you want to change your name, or you've got a new slogan, whatever the case may be, you can always just come into your assets here and edit those. Now, I don't have anything under elements, but this could be things like shapes and icons, maybe the Instagram logo, if you have a version of that that you like, that you want to put on some of your marketing pieces next to your Instagram name or whatever that is. You can also put videos on here too, and then other files as well. All right, so let's go back to templates. And I'm going to start first with a buyer presentation. So I'm here under templates. I'm going to go under buyer, and then we're going to click buyer presentation. Now, it used to be that we only had 2 options for buyer presentations. When they first released this, we had classic and modern. But now, as you guys can see, we've got modern 2, classic 2, approachable, classic 1, and modern 1. So we've got all these different ones we can choose from. I'm always really drawn to this really red one. I like it a lot. I think it just goes really well with other marketing pieces. And I think that's something that's really important is, for me, I want to make sure if I'm putting out a marketing piece, I want it to look like my other marketing pieces. So everything starts to look kind of cohesive. And like when someone sees one of my posts on Facebook, they know that's, oh, that must be Kara's, you know, that must be Kara's. So I'm going to work on this one. But if you like one of these other ones better, go for it, my friend. You can actually kind of flip through these pages too. So you don't have to necessarily commit to one by clicking on it. So see, I'm just kind of floating over it, getting to the point with my mouse where I can see this arrow. And then I'm just flipping through to see which ones I like the most. I actually like this one a lot too. I like them all, to be honest. You can't go wrong. They're all good. Okay, but let's use modern 2. So I'm going to click use. And then this is basically where my book's at right now. I've got 1 page and it's blank. So I got nothing. But these are all the pages I can use to insert in this booklet. Now, buyers presentations are one that I don't think you really need to edit as much or like customize per each buyer as you do for listings. So for this one, you can pretty much just make it and then be done with it. I would say maybe print a few copies of it, keep the copies on you in case, you know, you meet someone that you want to offer that booklet to. I printed on some nice paper if you have that available. Or you could also save it as a PDF and send it to people that you're working with as a digital booklet as well. So that is another option too. So just some ways to think about how you could be using this. So we definitely want our first page here, a cover page. So I'm going to add this. And then I'm going to put my first and last name here. Oh, you know what? I like it better the way that they had it, which in the uppercase. And then anything else I want to edit, I'll just click these boxes and I can just type in the boxes, your guide to home ownership, everything you need to know about buying a home. That sounds like a good tagline. But we do need to update our logo. So I've got this KWDBA name logo here, and I want to make sure I've got my logo. So I'm going to click this, and then I'm just going to replace it. Usually, whenever I do that, I'll need to move it a bit. It just never seems to wind up in the spot that I want it to be in. And then same thing for this one. If I want to change it to another logo, like maybe this logo right here. Oops, I did that wrong. Let's just delete that. I'm going to highlight and then go back to logos. And then I do need that. Well, it doesn't look like it's letting me switch it out, but I can just click that and then delete this. And then delete that. Now I'm just clicking the delete button on my mouse, or on my keyboard, but you can also click this trash can up here to delete things. And then I'll take this and I'll move it down here. and make it smaller. Put it right there. See how that like purple line shows up to tell me that I have them lined up together? Definitely take advantage of that tool. It's there to help you. All right, and there's my first page. I think that looks pretty good.
Wants to return the fucking...
Does someone have a question? All right, so moving on, I'm going to work on our next page here, go back to templates. And then this page right here is just instructions, I believe, on, let's see. Yeah, instruction page. So it doesn't want you to remove, it doesn't want you to use this page. It wants you to make sure you remove it before use, but gives you a little tips about how to use this guide. Now, if you'd like to customize this so that it's different for every person that you present it to, you can customize it here with your client's name. I think buyer consults are typically pretty much the same, unlike listings, because you know, you're just offering your services. They're pretty much the same for buyers, to my knowledge. Maybe you do want to customize things a bit more, so this is where you could do that. You've got your table of contents. I'm going to add that page. Now, I would just make sure if you do add a table of contents that you're going back, maybe after you've done your whole booklet, just go back and make sure this is accurate. Did you actually include all of these things? This is editable. So if you decide that you want to take out this at your service portion, you could always just remove that, like so. Ta-da! Now it's like it never existed. Or if you'd like to add another portion, so let's say after my promise, you want to say about me, something like that. You can add that as well. So next, a sound decision. I don't know why I like that phrase so much. I think because even though this is like a Keller Williams Realty International thing, I think we use the word sound a lot here in Seattle for obvious water related reasons. So I love that. Talks a little bit about how investing in a home is such an important decision. Your needs come first. So all of this stuff is just really, I mean, it's already put together for you. It looks so great. It looks so professional. I would definitely read through all of it. Don't just put a bunch of pages together and assume that it's all good to go. I would read through everything and make sure that you like what it says, that there's nothing that needs to be changed or edited. Your home wish list. I love this. And sometimes you'll see they have multiple versions of things. So, well, actually, here's one page of wish list stuff and here's another. But if you actually like the way this one looks more, they do have different items on it, but you could always just like copy the stuff from this page and then just kind of continue using the same template. But I kind of like that it switches back and forth. Makes it a little more interesting. So another your home wish list, lots of things here. And again, you can always edit these. Your neighborhood preference. So here's one that you would definitely want to edit. This is why it's so important to actually look at these and not just add them and then print. So here it says, make my website your home base. My hyper filtered search now extends nationwide beyond the bounds of traditional MLS. So it does want me to put my website here. So I can always type my website, or I can go to my assets and I can put that website in here like that. So that's kind of how I would utilize those texts that we already did, that we used before. Although, why is that purple? Oh, there we go. All right, that looks great. I want to go back to templates, getting to know the neighborhood, map your move, neighborhood insight. So this is something that You'd probably just use, again, if you were customizing this booklet for a specific buyer, if you already know they're interested in neighborhoods in the Shoreline and Northgate area, Lake Forest Park area, you could actually add data about those neighborhoods here. How home buying works. Here's another good one. Partner with an agent. That always has to be number one, right? Get pre-approved for a loan. You definitely want to do that before you start looking for new homes. Make your offer, negotiating the terms. So if there's something you feel like they're missing on this checklist, like I said, all of this stuff is editable. You can actually change that or take things out. What you'd want to put here instead. All right, and now how home buying works. It's kind of a continuation of that list. Financing. Now here's one I think is really fun. My competitive advantage. The proof is in my numbers. So what I would say if you're a new agent, and I know a lot of you guys on this call are new agents, do a little tweaking to this page. Maybe say our competitive advantage, and talk to your agent services person or your MCA at your office about getting some stats for your office. And then talk here on this page about your office's stats. The proof is in our numbers. And then you can find these stats here. Higher on average than market from contract to closing, 77 days to find dream homes. So you could try to pull these stats, get help from your office for them, and they should be able to find those for you too. You could definitely rely on those people that you work with, that team that you've built from your office to kind of help you with those numbers that you might not quite have yet. Searching safely. This one looks like it could be really important. Socially distant tours, contactless transactions. That would definitely be a timely thing to include in your buyer presentation. Something that talks about your app. Starting collections, searches. So I want to make sure I've got my app code right here. That should also be in my, oh look, it's not in my assets. So this would actually be a great thing I would recommend for all of you guys. If you haven't done your assets yet, or you could go back and do them, I would add that link for your app to your assets, because that's something that you're not gonna, like I have my website memorized, obviously it's my name, but you're not gonna memorize, probably, maybe if you're really good with knowing numbers, I'm not gonna memorize my app link. So having that saved in my assets would be really helpful. And then I love this glossary too. It's got commonly used terms so your clients can know what the heck you're talking about when you talk about APR and appraisals, appraised values, encumbrances, equity, escrow, mortgage, the list goes on. And of course you could add things to here as well, maybe even some Keller Williams terms. All right, so let's say that is the end. I'm gonna add this like back page to this. Here's how you get in touch with me. So again, I put my app code here, my email, all that information. And now once I have everything done pretty much the way that I'd like it, I'm going to first title this design. Probably should have done that in the beginning, but we're going to do it now. Kara's buyer presentation. All right. And then also something to note things do save automatically. They should save automatically, but if you've put a lot of work into this, just to be safe, not a terrible idea to just click save every once in a while. And now that I am done with this, I'm going to click download. Now, something to note, you can download this as an image if you'd like. If you're going to post pictures of it on social media, then that would be maybe a good way to do it. But for the most part, I think you're probably going to be doing a PDF for this, whether you're printing it or sharing it digitally. You can choose, basically just like when you're printing anything else, you can choose if you want to do just the current page that you're on, ranges, you know, this page from that page. But most of the time you're going to do all pages. And now this part is really important. So I know it says standard web quality and high resolution print quality. I personally have had the best luck using standard web quality. I think standard web quality still looks very, very, very good whenever you print it. And often when you're using the high resolution print quality, it saves so large that it's very difficult to email. It's just like a very, very big file. Sometimes if your computer doesn't have a lot of storage, it might not even save it all on your computer. So you can certainly try printing with high resolution print quality, but if you're having any difficulties with it, I would say give the standard web quality a shot and it'll probably work a little bit better. And then we've got some other publishing settings here as well. And I cannot even see all of that. So I'm going to actually kind of zoom. Oh, well, let me zoom out. There we go. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see what that looks like. All my options here. And then start download. All right, so that is basically how I have made my, so it just saved down here, Kara's buyer presentation. I basically just made my buyer presentation. So if I want to go back and edit it, let's go back to command. Now, if I go to designs, it'll be that top design in here. And like I said before, so maybe I really like this version of my buyer presentation, but I actually want to save this, but make a new one where I kind of try some new things, tweak it around a bit. I can click these three dots and actually make a copy of it. This is also, these three dots are also where I could rename this. So for example, I want to call this, instead of copy of Kara's buyer presentation, we'll call this Kara's new buyer presentation, something like that. And then this is also where if you decided, you know, I actually like my old version better, I'm not going to use this and I don't want it cluttering my designs, I'm just going to delete this. So those are the things you can do with those dots. So let's talk about our listing presentation. I'm going to click that blue plus sign again and then go to print. And then next. All right, now this page should look really familiar since we were just here for buyer presentations, but now I'm going to go to listings. If you guys haven't spent a lot of time in designs, I would definitely check out all these other things they have in here. They have this personally branded zine now. So if you want to print out a quarterly magazine, you can now do that, which is really, really awesome. I think a really great utilization of this would be to partner with a lender or two and feature them in your zine and then have them kind of help cover the costs of printing it so you can share it with your database. It's an idea. And these are actually the articles and stuff that are in this zine are actually already pre-written for you. So kind of just like what we're doing with this buyers and listing presentation is most of it's already done for you. You just need to insert your own information. So really cool. Now let's go back to our listing presentation. And then just like we had all those options for buyer presentations, we also have all these options for listing presentations too. So Like I mentioned before, I like the idea of having everything kind of look cohesive and go together. So I'm going to use the same modern to option. And you can still kind of flip through these pages to check them out. If you decide, oh, actually, I really like classic 2 instead. And if you look under like social pieces or flyers for listings and things like that, you will actually find that there are a lot of graphics that match these graphics, which is really cool. Really great way to add continuity to all of your branding. All right, so we've got our listing presentation template here. We definitely need that first page. Now, this doesn't have my name or contact information or anything like that, so maybe that would be something that you'd want to add. Let's see, there's my name. And then maybe my email. See how that purple line is showing, it's popping up showing that I have those lined up. I might click both of these at the same time, kind of move them over a bit. Because you know what, I think I also want to add my headshot to this page too. So as you can see, I can add things to this as much as I'd like. I don't know if I actually like the way that looks, but you guys get the idea. All right, going back to templates, I've got another instructions page here. This is something that is not intended to stay in your booklet. And it tells you a lot of stuff I'm telling you too, like make sure you carefully review all the written content. All right, and now listing presentations typically are customized. So this is where you can put your client's name and information, maybe a picture of their house right here, if you've got one. And then here's where I'd put my headshot. Compliments of moi. And all of my information here, changing out my logos. So this is all very similar to what we just did before. Maybe I'll just take this one out. Now, some of these have an image placeholder, so you'll actually need to delete them twice, just something to keep in mind. And then I'm gonna wanna make sure before I move on that I do update all of this stuff, but you guys don't really wanna watch me do that, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next page. So I'm gonna go back to templates. Oh yeah, for client name, let's see. I think this client is going to be, I work with Gary Keller a lot. He's really trying to buy some property with me, sell his property. JK, but we'll put Gary Keller's name here. Now I've got my, looks like a table of contents, so we'll add that. And again, I can go in and actually change and edit these, update these if I end up switching some things around. Everything is customizable, everything, which is so great. Now here's probably where I would put information about Gary's house. Before you go into a listing presentation, hopefully you have a lot of information about their house. If it's ever been listed on the MLS before, it probably has pictures on the MLS. Go look for them. So let's say let's say it was listed before and I know the previous MLS number. I can always search by that MLS number. I don't really know an MLS number off the top of my head, but let's see if I just type a number in, if something will pop up. There we go. Here's a nice house. So I'm going to select this. Looks like it's loading. And then I'll want to just swap out this image for the one here, and ta-da! How cool would that be to show up at a listing presentation with a picture of your client's house, your potential client's house in the booklet? I can also find listing details too. So I can already know before I go in that there's 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, how many square feet, when it last sold for, and for how much. All of this information is available to you through the MLS. So next, we're gonna maybe add a little neighborhood snapshot of what that house or what that neighborhood has going on. So you can change all of this stuff to reflect the neighborhood that your client lives in. So for this one, for comparable properties, I have a little bit of a tweak that I would probably do for this. I don't think that 4 properties is quite enough for comparable properties, but I'm going to go ahead and add this anyway. And then I'm going to scroll down to this very braggy page about a portfolio of excellence. So this one only has 4 listings. This one has 6. If I add this page and then instead just kind of use this as a template, but make it look more like the other page. So let's see. I can take things like this, comparable properties. Copy. Go back to this. Paste. For here, this one says your property. And can kind of go from there to make everything kind of match the other page, but now I have more listings that I can include as comparable properties. So that was something I kind of forgot to mention earlier too. If you do want to see all of your pages, you can click this button up right here and go back to kind of review everything that you've got. You can add more. Let's see what else is available here. We've got your promise, selling safely. So just like we had that buying safely with the COVID things that you're doing to keep your clients safe, you can also do that in your listing presentation as well. Virtual showings, socially distant tours, and contactless transactions. Also a great time to promote your app. And as you can probably assume, this page is going to be one that's going to need a little updating, like having your app code in here. Again, I would definitely add that to your assets if you're like me and you don't have it in there yet. And then let's put that last page in here too. You got to have, it's got to end somewhere. You don't want your clients to be like, is that the last page? Is that it? Did I lose part of it? So this shows that this is the end of the booklet. So let's replace our logo. That looks really good. All right, so this ended up being 12 pages. Looks great. I'm gonna delete this page actually. So, oops. I'll just trash it. I don't like the way that one looks. And maybe for this comparable properties, you actually want to do 12 properties instead of 6 properties. I could just copy this and then go in and make changes to that as well. So that's a little tip of ways you can work from outside of that page too. And then when you're ready to save it, let's go ahead and give it a title. Now I can either call it the address of the property's listing presentation, or maybe I'll call it Gary Keller's listing And then I'm going to download. Standard web quality works well for me, so I'm just going to save it as that. Now this one, like I said before, this one I think especially, it would be great to go in and instead of completely restarting every time you make a new listing presentation for someone, just making a duplicate. Oh, said something went wrong. Let's try to refresh my page. Let's make a duplicate. Oh, it's not working, of course. Well, you guys saw how that worked earlier. So I would just make a duplicate of this and then maybe rename it Harry Potter's listing presentation, whoever the next person that I'm working with is, and then just make sure I edit it, make sure it's got stuff that reflects their home instead. And that's it, you guys. That's all I've got for you. Does anyone have any questions? Does everyone feel like they could make a listing presentation or a buyer's presentation now? You're ready to go?
Makes it super easy. Thanks, Kara.
Yeah, of course. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I love designs. I think, you know, I also use Canva a lot, just something you guys probably are familiar with because of our monthly stats graphics. But I will say, like, Canva is designed for all types of industries, all types of designs, and designs specifically is something that is just specifically for real estate agents. So it's got open house flyers and listing, like just listed graphics and things like that, that you wouldn't necessarily find other places because it's not places for real estate agents. So thanks again, everyone. Go into designs today, look around a bit, find something that you think is cool, make yourself some graphics, make yourself a buyer's presentation, keep a copy in your car. Let us know, your agent services person or your Tech Thursday people, let us know if you have any questions about that process. And we hope to see you guys all next week. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.